So in my previous vlogs, I talked about how Gensler is coming in, and I kind of did a little speculation that that might be the best time to get this case settled. And I believe that that is what Ripple is alluding to here. They're going to be dealing with a different enforcement director. They're going to be dealing with a different SEC director. And I think that's where they're heading with this. So my summary of the case management order is that the timeframes I had laid out in my previous vlogs are spot on. Also, I was surprised in the letter that how weak the SEC's position is. I believe that they wasted so much time on talking about what XRP or what Ripple was calling XRP that they really wasted an opportunity to provide the judge with some fact that the case would be based on. And I really thought Ripple did a good job of addressing that. But again, and I want to go back to paragraph 3 of the letter, the biggest takeaway is the discussion of settlement. Ripple makes sure to point out that it had failed in negotiations with the previous administration and hinted that it was waiting for the new SEC directors to come into power. This would be consistent with Ripple believing that Gensler or the new enforcement director will bring new settlement potential to the table, and this is consistent with what we talked about in my last vlog, the idea that the current SEC directors are holding up the settlement, but that it could very well happen after Gensler and his people get into power. Wait for that, and let's see what happens.
All right, everybody. Welcome back for another one. And I wanted to start this video off with that clip from Mr. Jeremy Hogan, once again, the attorney that has been along with us on this Ripple SEC lawsuit journey. He likes to keep us updated on what's actually going on from a professional perspective, right? So I like that. If you want to check this whole video out in full detail, I definitely recommend it, and subscribe to his channel because he provides valuable information regardless, okay? So the reason I also wanted to address this because I wanted to give you the perspective of a professional while simultaneously showing you how the crypto space, you know, Cointelegraph and CoinDesk, like to spin all the information given to the community in a manner that makes XRP look bad, always, right? So looking at this article, pretrial settlement not in the cards in SEC versus Ripple case. Both parties are currently not considering terms for a pretrial settlement. And they go on to cite a quote. So, counsel for the parties have met and conferred, and having previously discussed settlement, do not believe there is a prospect for settlement at this time. However, the parties will promptly notify the court if any settlement in principle is reached as to any defendant, right? Which is true. One little quote though, and they fail to mention Gary Gensler in here at all. Didn't want to talk about the guy. Well, the lawyer, Mr. Jeremy Hogan, did. He had plenty to say about him, and he has talked about Gary Gensler coming on board for a while. And for those of you that don't know, Mr. Gensler used to work at MIT, specifically teaching blockchain courses. So obviously this guy is very plugged in with how crypto functions and how each consensus mechanism works and so on. So, but anyway, he also doesn't mention how Ripple has demanded explanation of how the SEC came to the conclusion that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not a security, whereas XRP is. So they completely ignore all the information that does matter and just throw some FUD in here, right? So they had to end the article with, investment firms also liquidated their XRP holdings in the wake of the SEC enforcement action. Meanwhile, Ripple spent $690,000, the most by any U.S. crypto company, in lobbying efforts in the country during 2020, right? So not really relevant information to what's going on here, right? But let's throw that in there just because it sounds good. And then also, finally, Ripple's legal troubles are not only limited to the SEC, as the company is also subject of multiple class action lawsuits from aggrieved investors, all accusing the company of violating securities law. Right? Well, that's easy to do and a great target for companies like Ripple because they have a lot of money, and you know, lawyers and stuff like to jump on that. If there's any kind of way to win money off of a little case, they're going to do so. All right. So you're always going to get stuff like this. Class action lawsuits are happening right now against Robinhood as well. What's probably going to happen? They're going to pay a fine. They're going to move on, right? That's just how this thing works. But anyway, so as you can see here, this is why the crypto community just hates XRP, right? But from a lawyer perspective, he's saying how basically he expects when Gary Gensler is taking control of this case, that he expects a settlement. Pretty much what he indicated there. But, you know, it really depends on what you want to get your opinion from. So do you want to get it from Asato Avon Nomayo, I guess is how you say it, probably not, who is a fintech journalist and Bitcoin enthusiast, or a lawyer who's done thousands of cases like this and won plenty of them, right? Just saying. All right. Just wanted to address that real quick because a lot of people were asking me about this SEC case and so on. Well, my personal opinion, the lawyer basically said Ripple put a 9-page letter to the judge. The SEC did a 3-page letter, and both parties, so the SEC's letter was basically effortless and provided no value, and that Ripple's was very thorough. So if you ask me, it sounds like the SEC didn't really try, and that Ripple is not going to even have any trouble winning the case, all right? And that it will be settled when it comes to Gensler stepping in. So that's my take. Next up, one thing I just really wanted to briefly cover. NYDIG files for a US-based Bitcoin ETF with Morgan Stanley on board. So the New York Digital Investment Group has submitted paperwork with the US Securities and Exchange Commission to launch a new Bitcoin ETF. The submission lists NYDIG Trust Company as the fund's Bitcoin custodian, and Morgan Stanley is an authorized participant. So what's going to happen is Morgan Stanley is going to sell the shares to the public, sell them, and then obviously the trust investment objective is going to reflect the performance of the price of Bitcoin, less the expenses of the trust operations, and the trust will not seek to reflect the performance of any benchmark or index. All right, so you're going to get the performance of Bitcoin minus fees. Once again, so it's another ETF. I just wanted to point this out because Morgan Stanley's involved, so I'm sure this one's going to go through. But either way, plenty of crypto ETFs are coming. So once again, this is more mass adoption. And why am I talking about this? Well, because I think it's going to bring the herd to things like this. So once again, if you haven't joined the Discord already, you should definitely do that. Getting a lot of good tips from people. Like I said, you can't have your eyes all over this market at all times. So it's great to have a community, and I'm really appreciating people jumping in. So JT provided for us in the group chat, SANP. So this is Santo Mining Corp. It's already had a massive breakout, pretty much. It's up like 10 times over the past 3 weeks. But I think it has plenty more upside. I bought some myself, and I'm going to show you why. But first and foremost, I think it's at like a 15 million market cap right now. Whereas you can see a lot of these crypto projects in existence are already up over 100 million, 200, 300, you know, in the billions. And they do the same crap that this company does. So obviously I'm just speculating, and I'm not throwing my life savings over here. But at this point, I'm definitely interested in, you know, grabbing a few of these. Like DGAF, so Digitrade Financial. I jumped on this one before. So these are both companies, obviously, if you're wondering. They're not cryptos. But anyway, so DGAF, I bought it like 0.3 of a penny. Now it's at 2.2 cents. So it's almost up 10 times what I invested at. And I think it's only just getting started. As I've shown you, it's been as high as $1 in the 2017 run. So if it gets back there, I'll laugh. We'll just say that. But why do I think this Santo Mining Corp or Blockchain Labs could be good? Well, mostly because they are working on a few projects that are all trend related, right? So they're doing this pixel art, which is NFTs, dividends, which is going to be like a DeFi project, and then DNA tags is anti-counterfeit and tamper-proof blockchain solutions for everyday life. And then they have this Scully's ERC20 crypto that they built, which is going to be more NFT stuff. So like I said, the trend of this bull run is definitely going to be NFTs and DeFi. That's the stuff people just are going to keep buying with no real research. I'm confident in that. So I'm speculating a company that's doing like 4 of these different projects. All right. Could I be wrong and lose some money? Of course. That's why I said don't throw your whole life savings over here. I just wanted to point some things out to you. But the reason I like these stocks is because unlike the crypto space, the stock market has all the money in it already. And these traditional platforms are hard to get away from for financial advisors and the people who actually have the money, right? So if they're wanting to speculate this market too, they're going to throw money at these little stocks as well. And the thing about these stocks is there's probably, 100 or so of them that are crypto related right now, whereas there's like 9,000 cryptocurrencies. So to me, I see very limited supply as a whole and more demand. So there's more money on the sidelines ready to flow into this stuff, and there's very little options to choose from. So, and the thing about that is you have to file this paperwork with the SEC. There's a lot of work that goes into getting a stock listed, and not everything gets listed. Okay, so a lot of these companies are probably sitting on the sidelines right now that have paperwork filed, and they're just not going to get into the market until probably the end of the year. All right, and they might 10x as soon as they hit the market, and then they might sell off when everything starts crashing. But if these companies are already traded, they're ahead of the game, they're in limited supply compared to everything else, and there's more money on the sidelines. That's how I see it when it comes to this stock market. That's why I said from time to time that I feel like I could accidentally make more money in my IRA than I will with crypto itself that I have on these crypto exchanges. So that's just my take. All right. Ripple's going to win their lawsuit with the settlement. It's going to be a slap on the wrist. XRP is not going to be a security, but I think something might have to be done with the escrow. And then you might want to jump in the Discord and also start looking at some of these stocks if you're trading traditional markets as well. All right. Hope that was informative. As always, please like and subscribe, share with your friends and family, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.
Paper money is going away.
Yes.
And crypto is a far better way to transfer value than pieces of paper. That's for sure.
Without a doubt.
That has its pros and cons.
Just to clarify, Tesla's not going to start selling Bitcoin anytime soon.
No, we're not.
Okay, you heard it here first, even though everyone thought that.
Yeah, right.